Everyone, welcome to the show. I have an update to share about one of Trump's Capitol insurrectionists. It's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Ryan Bledsoe was arrested. Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So 55-year-old Pennsylvania resident Alan Byerly planned for violence on January 6th. He purchased a stun gun prior to that day, and he carried it with him on Capitol grounds. He used it against officers. But first, Byerly was seen on video helping other members of the mob to use that massive steel frame Trump sign that I've mentioned. They used it as a battering ram, essentially, against the officers. The sign is reportedly somewhere between 8 to 10 feet tall. It was like 10 to 15 feet wide. And in addition to the steel frame, it also had these huge metal caster wheels that were attached to it. And they said that they were the size of a man's head. So it could do a lot of damage. And Byerly and others lifted this enormous sign off the ground. They shoved it at a line of officers who were then forced to retreat. And they moved, allowing the mob to advance further towards the Capitol. So that was Byerly's first assault on January 6th. And remember, some of these officers didn't have helmets on. So this could have been life-threatening for them. After that attack, Byerly made his way to the Lower West Terrace Tunnel, where he joined in an attack on an Associated Press reporter. So what happened was Byerly grabbed the reporter with both hands, they said near his shoulder and his upper chest, and he pushed this man backwards. Then Byerly pushed him again before grabbing the reporter and dragging him in a totally different direction and into a large crowd of insurrectionists. Then, according to all of the reports, he placed his hands near this reporter's face and his neck, and he shoved and pushed him toward this low stone wall. And then the reporter was later pushed backward over the stone wall by another member of Trump's mob. But Byerly took off. So he approached another group of officers, and he was holding his taser, which was activated over his head. So the officers heard the electrical charge. They started repeatedly yelling taser to try to warn the other officers. And they were able to wrestle the taser away from Byerly, but then he charged at them. So this is yet another attack. He struck and pushed some of the police officers. He tried to grab one of their batons. And as they attempted to restrain him, he charged at another officer again. Then that officer fell to the ground and Byerly continued to assault him. Other officers were trying to subdue him. They were trying to get him off of the officer. So you guys aren't going to be shocked to hear Byerly has a bit of a criminal history. Although his violent crimes occurred decades ago, Byerly has been convicted on charges of battery and infliction of corporal punishment, driving under the influence, damaging a vehicle and property. So Byerly was arrested on July 7th of last year, and then in a superseding indictment, he was charged with civil disorder, assaulting officers using a deadly or dangerous weapon, entering restricted grounds with a deadly or dangerous weapon, disorderly conduct on restricted grounds with a deadly or dangerous weapon, 2 counts of physical violence, one of which included the dangerous weapon add-on, striking, beating, or wounding a person within territorial jurisdiction, and simple assault within territorial jurisdiction. In July of this year, Byerly pleaded guilty to 1 count of assaulting officers, as well as the striking crime in territorial jurisdiction. Based on the assault charge and the fact that Byerly was committing another felony at the time, he was facing up to 8 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $250,000 in fines. The government, however, requested only 46 months in prison, which represented the top end of the federal sentencing guidelines. They also asked for 3 years of probation and $2,000 in restitution. The prosecutor asked for the top end because they noted that following Byerly's arrest, he basically tried to minimize his actions. He told the FBI agents that he only did, quote, one stupid thing down there, and that's all it was. Apparently, when he said that, he was referring to the assault on the AP journalist. And then Byerly claimed that he just grabbed the reporter and he said, quote, "Get the fuck out of here." And he believed that it amounted to nothing more than a misdemeanor. He also denied having a taser until he was shown photos of himself and he was pressed for details. But then he still told the agents, quote, "This is political fucking persecution. This is a simple citation and me go to court and pay a fine locally. And now the federal government's in it and it's all politically fucking pushed to persecute any Trump supporters." These people are so delusional. So anyway, at his sentencing hearing, Byerly had a more conciliatory tone. He said, quote, "Regretfully, I let my emotions get the best of me, and I'm very disappointed. But make no mistake, this was no excuse for me to put my hands on anyone. I was being an antagonistic jerk, and I still can't understand why I was like that." I know. Ooh, pick me. Maybe because you're an antagonistic jerk, and that's why you like Trump. I'm just saying. Just my opinion. But anyway, so Byerly also said, quote, "I should have never gotten involved, and I'm deeply sorry for my actions." And Byerly then admitted to assaulting the AP reporter because someone yelled, quote, "That's Antifa, get him out of here." So they see someone wearing black and they assume it's Antifa. You know what assume stands for, right? You make an ass out of you and me. So here's why I don't believe this guy for 1 second. Byerly is now saying that in the months following the Capitol attack, quote, "I felt so bad, I wouldn't even tell the closest people in my life about January 6th. He felt so bad, you guys, that when the FBI came to talk to him, he denied his actions and he called it political persecution. No, not buying this guy's BS whatsoever. Unfortunately, a complete sucker presided over this case. U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss completely fell for Byerly's feigned remorse. The judge said that he was, quote, "enormously impressed by Byerly's statement," and that it, quote, "struck me as sincere." So in the end, Judge Moss gave Byerly only 34 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and he ordered him to pay $2,000 in restitution. And this violent criminal is going to get credit for the time he already served, so he'll be out in about 19 months. Unbelievable. And no, before you guys even ask, the judge was not appointed by Trump. He is another weak-ass Obama appointee. So you have people going to prison for far longer than this guy, and they touched no one. That's the problem I have with these sentences. Most of them make absolutely no sense. This guy should have received 5 to 10 years. Easily. He falls for election fraud fairy tales, and he goes and attacks people. And we're going to let him out in another 19 months. So he'll be out in time for the next election. And he will be back at it. So I'll let you guys know when I hear more about this man, because I guarantee we will. Anyway, thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.